Hi, I'm Kathy, host of Unlocking the Parenting Code, all about boys. In this video, I'll be wrapping up our first two seasons and giving you a preview of what's coming next. Before we look ahead, I want to take a moment to reflect on this experience so far. When I started this podcast, I knew I had something I wanted to say. I knew I wanted to be a voice for boys, for understanding the world they're growing up in, and for supporting the people who are raising them. I had a message, a drive, and a lot of curiosity. What I didn't realize then was just how much this experience would impact me personally. I've walked away from every single interview, all 32, having learned something. Sometimes it was about boys, sometimes about parents, and sometimes about myself. There were practical strategies, big aha moments about resilience, love, and growth, and often just quiet awe at the strength and vulnerability of the people who show up every day doing their best for their kids. It's kind of felt like a seed and watching it grow slowly, steadily, but slowly. It's growing. So today I want to share some of that growth with you, what I've learned, where we've been, and where we're heading next. The very first conversation in season one was with an incredible young woman, a mom who had had her first child as a teenager and now parents four children in ages ranging from 2 to 21. Her story is one of true resilience, heartbreak, and determination. She's faced unimaginable challenges, from navigating her child's rare disease to parenting a neurodivergent child to grieving the loss of a twin. And yet her philosophy was simply whatever it takes. That conversation set the tone for the whole season. Real stories, real strength, real parenting. I spoke with an artist and educator who talked openly about the gap between the parenting she expected and the parenting she actually experienced. Her vulnerability helped me realize how many people feel unseen in their parenting journey and how powerful it is to speak that truth. As the season unfolded, I met a young mom who introduced me to the term radical unschooling, and I also met the only man for season one, a proud grandfather and a passionate advocate for empowering children through education. We talked about how grandparents can be a powerful resource in a child's life, something I think many of us don't really tap into enough. I had the privilege of speaking with a woman whose parenting journey included birth, adoption, and foster care. She brought the fascinating idea of using human design in parenting. And that was one of those moments when I thought, wow, there's just so much out there that we don't even know what we don't know. One parent I spoke to had 8 children and was homeschooling them all. And she made the decision to go back to university in her 40s to study mental health to support her own children better. Her story really opened the idea that parenting isn't just about teaching your children, it's about healing yourself too. There were episodes that explored the role of faith, the challenges of co-parenting across countries and cultures, and conversations that blended corporate strategy with family values, like the lovely woman in India whose kindness and clarity stayed with me long after we finished recording. And through it all, I saw one consistent truth. Parenting is universal in its complexity. The details may vary, but the depth of love, struggle, and hope, that's the same everywhere. By the time season two rolled around, I had a dozen interviews behind me and a lot more confidence under my belt, so I doubled down, literally. Season two had nearly twice as many interviews, and with them, a rich tapestry of experiences. I started off with two guests that I had actually met in real life, a rarity in my podcasting world. One was from Mongolia, finishing a doctorate in psychiatry here in Japan. And we had a fascinating talk about cultural expectations and mental health. The other was a former colleague. And in our conversation, we explored what it means to raise a child when you're balancing your own cultural values with those of the new place that you're living. One story that stayed with me was a single mom who's been traveling the world and still is today with her son. She's started businesses together, adventures together, and they have built an incredibly strong bond in a nomadic lifestyle. Another guest was an art therapist married to a music therapist. They'd gone through a major medical trauma as a family, and the way they leaned into their deep emotional roots to get through it was absolutely inspiring. Season two took a deeper dive into adoption, co parenting, and identity. We explored what it means to raise twins, biological and adopted, and how gender and attachment issues show up in daily life. There were bloggers, authors, podcasters, and passionate advocates, each bringing a unique perspective. I interviewed a self-care entrepreneur who had gone through a Navy SEAL training and intentional kidnapping exercise. Yeah, really. And somehow that still led us into a profound conversation about parenting and personal growth. A clinical counselor shared her journey of shifting her entire parenting approach when her boys were just 10 and 9, and the profound impact of embracing the belief that you are good enough. That message, especially for us moms, is so important. We talked about the power of community, moms supporting moms, strangers cleaning homes of overwhelmed parents, and groups built entirely on love and kindness. One guest introduced me to baby wearing as a deep connection practice. Another reframed being a stepmom as a bonus parent, such a beautiful way of seeing blended families. I spoke with authors, expats, and a woman raising 9 children, 7 of whom are boys, who is also a musician and an author of historical fiction. Honestly, there were moments in season 2 where I just sat back and thought, I can't believe that I get to do this. And then I got to hear from 2 young men, one who has been through the fire, facing his own dark decisions and using faith to rebuild. The other, ending the season, who believes in building what he calls a moral warehouse in his children so that they are on the right path even when no one is watching them. Their voices were powerful, and they helped shape what season 3 will look like. So here we are, just getting ready for season 3. And I really am excited about where this is all headed. This season, I made a very intentional decision. I wanted to focus more on men's voices, and not just because I enjoy talking to men, which I really do, but because I believe we don't hear from them enough in conversations about parenting and about emotional development and mental health. I also wanted to speak more with experts because I love to learn. And I think as parents, as people, we should always be learning. So, season 3 is going to unfold in 4 kinds of episodes, each offering a different perspective, but all circling around the core theme of understanding boys better. First, there will be some episodes that are interviewing experts. And I've had a few of these already, and they really have they've surpassed what my expectations were. The first expert that I did speak with for the season 3 expert section talks about communication. Now, I know we've all heard a million things about how to communicate better, right? But this conversation was different, truly different. The approach, the insights, it really got me thinking about how we can transform the way we talk to children and the way we talk to anyone who's really connected with us. I think any parent listening will walk away with a new lens. Another expert I interviewed spoke about neurodiversity, especially individuals who are somewhere on the autism spectrum. And wow, she gave me a completely fresh way of seeing and understanding that experience. She described it like learning a different language, and how with curiosity and compassion, we can become more fluent in that language. It wasn't just educational, it was really very beautiful. The third expert talked about concussion recovery, especially with athletes. She shared fascinating research and insights into how our brains can heal It made me realize that even if a child experiences a concussion, it doesn't have to be a life-altering event. There are ways to repair and recover, and that kind of knowledge is empowering for any parent. The second type of interviews for season three is going to be interviewing dads who are raising families. I've had a lot of amazing moms in season one and season two, and I loved those conversations. But this time, I want to turn the mic towards the dads. The first father I interviewed this season is a single dad who raised three children. Actually, his will be the first episode for season three. And it was his first interview, so I was honored to be part of that. His story is powerful. It reminded me how important community is for men and how often they're expected to handle things on their own. And when they do step into the main caregiving role, they don't always receive the same compassion and support that mothers do. I'm really looking forward to more of these dad conversations because we need to hear from men about what it's actually like for them, the challenges, the beauty, the things they wish others understood. The third type of episode will be interviewing young men, and this is a group I am really, really excited to speak with and listen to. These conversations will be with young men about what it's like to grow up today. We'll talk about the expectations placed on them, the unspoken pressures, and how they navigate the messages society gives us about masculinity, success, and emotion. I truly believe that hearing their voices, their raw, real experiences, will help us better understand what males today are going through. And maybe it'll help us shift the way we parent them when they're younger in ways that lighten their emotional load or help them feel more seen. And lastly, we will have some episodes that are solo episodes. That's me. I'll be doing some solo episodes because, well, I have a lot to say, but also because I've been learning so much from these interviews and from my own journey as a parent that sometimes I need a space to process and share what's unfolding. These solo episodes will be where I talk from the heart about what I'm seeing, feeling, and learning, whether it's a parenting breakthrough, a messy moment, or just a quiet realization. I'll be here with you talking through it all. So that's season three. That's what it will be. Expert dads, young men, and me. Each voice will offer a window into the world of boys, who they are, what they need, how we can support them in becoming emotionally strong, connected, and authentic human beings. I hope you'll join me for every single step of it.